So as I mentioned to you earlier, the reason I wanted to have a chat with you is that you, I guess, can help us in two ways. One is the fact that you are an outsourced solution for a lot of travel businesses, and secondly that you actually, well, I refer to you as the queen of outsourcing. You outsource so many things in your business. So I guess you could enlighten us on the whys and the hows of some of the things that you actually outsource in your company. So I guess maybe to start with, could you just tell us a little bit about Onq Marketing?
Yeah, sure. So I'm one of the founders here at Onq, and together with my partner, we run a small digital marketing agency focused on helping small businesses to improve their visibility online. We do that by fast tracking their online visibility using content marketing, SEO, and automation predominantly, and help with social media and other aspects here and there. Personally, my background is in travel. I've worked at the pointy end as a consultant, and also in wholesale and then in marketing. So I feel like I've got a pretty broad understanding of the travel landscape, well, at least here in Australia. So yeah, my niche kind of has just become rightfully so travel.
Yep. And we reached out to you, I think, after about 3 years in business, when we made the decision to outsource our marketing. And the business went north really, really quickly after that. So it was one of the best things that we ever did.
It's funny that you should say that, because I feel like that 3 to 4 year mark is something that I hear often. But not only that, we've been in business for about a decade, but the first 3 to 4 years exactly, we really tried to do it all ourselves. And I really wish that I knew then what I know now in terms of outsourcing and just biting the bullet.
Biting the bullet, that's actually a really good way to describe it, being bold and just sort of managing that fear and realizing that it's all going to pay off. So why would a small travel business, why would they come to you, and why would they actually choose to outsource their marketing rather than do it in-house? Well, I guess obviously down the track there could be the option of employing someone in a marketing role, but way before that, why would someone outsource their marketing to a company like yours?
For a mix of reasons, really. I guess the thing that we hear most often is that they've either started up a business or they've been in business for quite some time, and they really feel like, and rightfully so, a small fish in a very, very big pond, especially when you're competing with the likes of Booking.com, Expedia, TripAdvisor. They come to us, I guess, generally via one of our travel marketing blog posts, and we just hear them say, I've given it a crack, I've tried to do this, and it's usually a really long and expensive list. And I'm not seeing any results, and it's crushing to a small business owner when you really should be able to concentrate on business growth rather than marketing, I guess.
And focusing on what they do well, as opposed to kind of fumbling around in the dark and taking a bit of a scattergun approach and trying to do 10 things really badly from a marketing perspective, rather than just take a step back, focus on what they actually are passionate about and what they do really well.
Exactly. And generally, actually always when they come to us, there's a real lack of strategy when it comes to their marketing plan and sometimes their business objectives. So the one thing that we do, and I think is really valuable to tour and activity operators, travel agents alike, is that we do an audit of their online visibility, and it's a realistic and unbiased review of where things are at in the online landscape for them. What's happening with their competitors, where they're wasting their money and where they should be channeling their money. And content is one thing that I see work time and time again for small travel and tourism operators. So, everyone knows that they need to build a website. They build a website. They know they need to get their reviews up. They do that. And most of them know that they should be blogging and they should be using social media, but by the time they come to us, they've been doing all those things, but doing them with a complete lack of understanding of why they're doing them and what they expect as a result. So we use content to help drive their visibility up online. And if you want one example, the big players are targeting the higher traffic, higher conversion keywords. So you might have them targeting the general term tours of Paris. And for a smaller company with a smaller budget to try and hit that keyword and be visible online for that, little to no hope. So, but there is a really good opportunity for the smaller operators to target long tail keywords. So that might be, and closer to their niche as well, it might be that they start targeting music and walking tours of Paris rather than just the broad term. They write a really great blog post. If it's interesting enough and long enough and ticks a few other boxes, and they team that with automation, that sets off a sequence of, channeling people into your customer journey, getting them to sign up to your database, etc., etc. So content I have seen work time and time again for small businesses that thought they had no hope, basically. Then automation automation is wonderful for so many reasons, none more so than the fact that it really takes some of that pressure off you to be responding to emails all the time and following up leads and doing this and doing that. But it can be a little tricky to set up properly. So I guess that's, another reason that people come to us. And then SEO.
Okay, cool. So I guess putting marketing aside for a minute, why would you say a small tourism business would outsource anything that happens in their business? Have you got some thoughts on that? So outsourcing in general, why would a tourism business outsource anything?
Because why not, is the answer I have to that question. Look, the bottom line is it's expensive and it's time consuming to try and do everything yourself. And anyone who thinks they've got the skills to do everything efficiently is kidding themselves as far as I'm concerned. I was kidding myself for a long time. You can't do it all and you can't do it all effectively. So that's the number one reason why you should look at outsourcing. And it just opens up, for us anyhow, it's opened up so many doors to other projects and other that we may not have pursued. We've built relationships across the world as well. And at the end of the day, it enables us to take a step back, to work on the business, business owners, because the load has been taken off.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I'm sure is your experience as well.
It absolutely is my experience as well. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, have you, when these companies come to you, do you see some really common mistakes with that are just replayed over and over? Number one mistake is not understanding their ideal customer persona. Where that customer is spending their time, what they're doing, what their likes are, what their interests are, beyond just demographic of age, sex, location. So that's number one, because, you're firing blanks if you don't know who you're firing towards. Yeah. The other one is often, particularly with the tour and activity operators, they've got all these social media profiles that they're trying to manage and probably doing none of them effectively. So, that's one mistake. I really am a true believer that you need to pick one or two and really hone your efforts and understand why and how that social media platform can work for you. Yeah. And the other one is just broadly lacking the strategy to achieve your business objectives. So if I use the example of blogging, blogging because they heard they should and because they heard it's helpful, but which is not targeting all the time. Oh, I know I should blog. I've heard I should blog, but I just don't know why or what type of content's going to resonate or why I'm actually doing this. I don't have an understanding of that. And honestly, at this end, it's as simple as doing an audit and then going, okay,
here's some keyword terms we think you've got a real chance of ranking for. Write some content assets around those keyword terms and make it valuable, and then automate and see it work all the time. So just lack of strategy, I think, in general, is the three bigger mistakes.
Great. Okay. Just a couple more things I was really curious to ask you. So first of all, people talk about fear a lot, and when we're engaging with tour and activity operators and we're talking about this topic of outsourcing, a lot of it is all about fear, being overwhelmed, worried, being concerned that they're just not going to be able to pay for this kind of stuff. There's also a bit of a reluctance to give up control, let people in. So they're the two common themes that we have, a real fear and anxiety about being able to actually pay for all of this outsourcing that's taking place, and how they're actually going to have people be able to do things in the same way or the way that they're used to. So have you got any, thoughts on that or any comments on that?
My thoughts are that I can completely understand the reluctance to want to give up the control, been there, done that, and have these kind of conversations often. I would say that the first thing you should probably do is sit down and put together a brief. So to approach your freelancer or whoever you plan on, excuse me, I've had something pop up here. Here we go. So write a brief, clearly communicate to the company or the freelancer, whoever that might be, what it is you're trying to achieve and what it is you expect from them. Ask questions, I think, is another one. And you've just got to take the leap. I think the key probably is to pick a small task that you're kind of okay letting go of at first, and start with outsourcing a small task, and then gradually give that person or that company a little bit more responsibility. And go from there. I don't know. I just remember the first time we just finally bit the bullet to outsource, and I was just like, why did we not do this earlier?
That's exactly right. The why. I cannot believe I've been spending so much time doing this for so long, and it's changed my life. It's literally in the space of a few weeks, it's changed my life.
Yep. And as far as the costs are concerned, I mean, you've got options. You don't have to go with the most expensive option. You work out I guess you wrote in one of your blog posts that you really need to weigh up the cost of your time and effort to do something versus what you're willing to pay someone else. I think we sit down and have an honest conversation with yourself about how many hours you were putting into trying to manage something and what that means to you in a dollar terms. Then you can start to get a good idea of, okay, you might not want to pay someone exactly that much, but,
Well, that leads beautifully into my last question for you, which is tips and tricks, anything that you can give to us about finding, really great value, quality and affordable outsourced solutions. Where do you, in the current landscape, and I know it's very, very challenging because it differs dramatically from task to task, but is there anything you might be able to offer us in the way of tips or tricks about finding great outsourced solutions?
Look, I can only speak from my experience. We've tried a few different platforms for finding freelancers for our business. My preferred, and the one that we've been going back to for 6 years now, is Upwork. I like that it's transparent. I like that you can, pick and choose your location. There's lots of reviews. You've got an opportunity to ask lots of questions. The tracking is quite spot on. And I think probably my biggest tip is, like I said, write a bit of a brief. Have discussions first. Ask the questions, even the more uncomfortable questions. And the one thing I've found, and for myself, but also have heard along the way, one question is, don't just assume you're going to be dealing with the one person. So if you've found someone you think is ideal for a project, ask the question of whether or not it's just them working on the project or whether they've got other people who work with them, because I've seen that kind of thing go south when you just expect that it's going to be one way. Our business is a little bit different, I guess, the nature of who we outsource to. Reviews, I've got a few friends who use the same team of admin ladies, I should say, and they share them because one recommended them, and they use them part-time as a team. But apart from that, just ask questions.
So I guess there's a few themes there where no matter what the platform, things like really great reviews, transparency, the ability to actually pick locations. I mean, there could be certain corners of the world that have a real strength or technical ability in something. So, and also, I guess, not just putting your faith in the experts and assuming that once you bring someone in, that they're automatically going to hit the ground running and be able to do the job better than you. They're going to need training. They're going to need a detailed brief and all of these things.
You really need to approach it in the same. Don't just sit them behind a desk and go, there you go, do the job and hope for the best. You know, you do some training, you sit down, you invest in the relationship with them and you nurture it, and it's the same, even though it might be via Skype or across the other side of the world. We definitely found, I mean, our team started out as just the two of us, and fast forward to now there's 6 permanent staff and then casuals who come and go depending on the projects. And one of the key reasons we initially outsourced our first more permanent role was because we needed a web developer with advanced skills that we didn't have when it came to complex projects. And we were blown away with the guy that we found and still continue to work with, because, like you said, at the time in Australia, Australia was a little bit behind in terms of skill set in the web development area, and we found that when we started working with this particular person in Europe, his knowledge and understanding of coding was beyond anything that I'd expected, and we've learned so much from him as well. So, you know, I think looking outside your area has benefits in that way too.
Being willing to look in the mirror and say, okay, well, maybe there's someone out there that has a skill set that supersedes mine, and I can tap into.
And they can bring ideas and energy to your business that you otherwise wouldn't have had. We've got a copywriter and a graphic designer. You know, they've got a very specialised skill set that we certainly don't have. But I think the biggest asset to me personally has been our admin and marketing assistant. She's an absolute gem, but her task may not be all that complicated, but what she has done has given me back 5 hours in a week that I was spending on admin tasks that I can now spend on doing things like this. Absolutely.
Look, it's been a great chat. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been great. See you later.
Great. Look forward to seeing the course unfold. Thanks, Josh.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jack. Bye-bye.
Bye.